The vast gap between sensible responses and frantic self-preservation becomes clear when you grasp that there's no isolated identity worth guarding. In that realization, you start resembling water itself. Water doesn't clash with the stones blocking its way. It refuses to erect barriers against the breeze. Instead, it glides past, above, and beneath any obstacle it meets. Through this effortless movement, it gradually molds all that comes into contact with it. Ponder the rhythm of it all. Each instance you shield yourself, you're essentially affirming the existence of something fragile to shield. You're solidifying the myth of division, the notion that you're a delicate personality susceptible to harm from comments, judgments, or the ideas swirling in others' minds. Imagine, though, if you just sidestepped the trap. Suppose, upon facing criticism, you responded with authentic interest rather than knee-jerk resistance. What if their statements reached you, not as strikes against your cherished self-image, but as insights, as useful input, as yet another ripple manifesting within the boundless sea of awareness? I recall a lady who devoted her whole existence to rationalizing her actions to everyone around her. No choice, no selection, no inclination escaped the need for validation, protection, or approval from the phantom court she harbored internally. She wore herself out, attempting to demonstrate her adequacy, her intelligence, her value. Then, abruptly, a transformation occurred. She awoke to the fact that she'd been prosecuting herself for offenses born solely from her fantasies. Observe the toll that ceaseless self-vindication had exacted, fending off charges that nobody had ever voiced. The instant she ceased the defenses, a remarkable shift unfolded. Folks halted their assaults, not due to any alteration in them, but because the target had vanished. She had transformed into the sky, expansive and receptive, undisturbed by the passing tempests that swept across it. Understand this: much of what we label as aggression is merely individuals voicing their inner turmoil, their anxieties, their urgent desire to assert correctness in a chaotic existence that defies logic. When somebody points out your flaws, they're often revealing far more about their own struggles than yours. The fellow who brands you idle is typically daunted by his potential for quietude. The lady who deems you self-centered is likely wrestling with remorse over her desires. The one who assails your decisions is probably doubting their own path. Yet, by internalizing these reflections as personal barbs and countering them, you get mired in their disarray. You join a tango of shared misconceptions where everyone loses sight of the grand theatrical play unfolding in the universe. Envision stepping away from that routine? What if you declined to engage in the cycle of offense and rebuttal? This isn't about turning aloof or detached. It's about acknowledging that real power arises not from fortifying barriers, but from needing none at all. Genuine safety emerges not from upholding a stance, but from embracing fluidity without anchors. Reflect on this riddle. The fiercer your efforts to safeguard your persona, your standing, your core being, the more brittle and exposed you end up. It's akin to attempting to transport liquid in a sieve. The tighter your grip, the faster it drains away. But release the clutch. Abandon the quest to dictate others' perceptions of you, and you'll uncover a profound truth. You're inherently whole. You've always been whole, the endorsement you're pursuing, the affirmation you're after, the esteem you're insisting on. None can enhance your essential nature. An ancient tale tells of a wise teacher wrongly blamed for conceiving a baby in his community. The villagers approached him brimming with fury, blame, and calls for justification. He merely replied, "Is that so?" and accepted the infant to care for as his own. Years passed until the actual parent surfaced. Those same villagers returned bearing regrets, commendations for his forbearance, and awe at his integrity. Once more the teacher uttered, "Is that so?" and handed the child back to its rightful family. Can you perceive his approach? He neither justified himself amid the onslaught, nor swelled with pride upon a claim. Not from apathy, but from the deep knowing that your true essence remains untouched by utterances, by views, by the fleeting gales that traverse the landscape of human awareness. Yet here's the truly captivating part. By halting your self-protection, you likewise cease assailing others, since you perceive no true, quote, two eyes exists to target. The individual who irks you, who tests you, who appears to resist you, is merely another surge in the identical expanse, another facet of the singular foundational truth. The sages have long recognized this. They describe the essential oneness beneath all seeming variety. They pierce the pretense of isolation, the falsehood of solitary selves clashing for dominance. When you genuinely perceive, once you truly grasp this deep in your core, a remarkable shift occurs. You start immersing yourself in existence without clashing against it. You fulfill your role in the grand human story without getting so wrapped up that you forget to laugh at the absurdity of it all. Imagine yourself as a performer, aware of the spotlight. He dives into portraying the protagonist or antagonist with total dedication, yet when the curtain falls, he doesn't carry that identity home. It's all just an act, a lively rhythm, a playful exploration of awareness manifesting in endless shapes. With that in mind, let's dive in. He recognizes it as a show, a fluid movement, a conscious entity discovering itself via myriad expressions. You could wonder, though, how about fairness? What of fighting for justice? If I never stand up for myself, won't folks trample me? Won't wrongdoing prevail? These are valid concerns, highlighting a key nuance. Personal shielding differs from measured reactions. Safeguarding an ego isn't the same as guarding what truly requires it. Ceasing self-protection doesn't turn you idle, it makes you attuned. You address circumstances with lucidity instead of knee-jerk impulses, with insight over bruised ego. If lies circulate about you, you could opt to set things straight, not to salvage your fragile image, but since accuracy benefits everyone more than deception. If actions injure those around you, you might step in, not from your own moral outrage, but because the group's well-being demands it. Yet you handle these without the heat of self-justification. You operate from discerning the scenario's true needs, not your inner self's cravings. That's the gap between a true fighter and a mere responder. The fighter moves from balance, insight, and unity with everything. The responder operates from anxiety, isolation, and a frantic urge to shield an identity that wasn't really endangered. Allow me to offer a bold idea. Many threats you feel compelled to fend off aren't real at all. They unfold in your mind, in the narratives you spin about others' opinions, the implications of their speech, or how their deeds reflect on you. You craft a full-blown saga internally, casting yourself as the sufferer and them as the foe, then wear yourself out battling this phantom assault. All the while, the individual involved may not even dwell on you. They could simply be navigating a rough patch, voicing their own bewilderment, or stumbling through the flawed, chaotic essence of being human. But even if criticism comes your way, even if it's a deliberate attempt to belittle or wound you, your choice not to retaliate robs it of impact. It renders it ineffective. Consider this. Hurl a sphere at a barrier, and it rebounds with matching intensity. Launch it into the void, though, and it drifts onward until its momentum fades into nothing. By declining to be the barrier, by embodying the void yourself, the assault finds no purchase. Far from frailty, this embodies supreme power. It's the power of the heavens, unscathed by tempests sweeping across. It's the power of the sea, unaltered by the swells that crest and recede above it. And the truly wondrous part? When you halt self-guarding, you invite others to drop their assaults. By opting out of the conflict ritual, you open room for authentic exchange, true comprehension, and bonds that can't form amid defensive standoffs. I recall observing two acquaintances in a heated debate. One fiercely upheld his political stance, the other assailed it relentlessly. They volleyed endlessly, erecting taller barriers, each more certain of their moral superiority. No one truly heard the counterpart. They merely bided time to fire back. Imagine if one had paused and noted, quote, 3. What if, rather than fortifying their turf, they grew intrigued by the opposing stance? The whole interaction would transform. From adversaries, they'd evolve into companions, sharing insights on life's terrain. That's the outcome of foregoing self-defense. You open avenues for honest conversation, real encounters, the sort of interplay that reshapes individuals rather than solidifying their entrenched views. Yet the profoundest motivation for avoiding defense transcends techniques, maneuvers, or improved interactions. At its heart, it's rooted in a core illusion about your essence. You aren't an entity. Nothing threatens you in truth. You're not a thing that gets broken or harmed. Rather, you're the pure knowing where every moment emerges and fades. You're the silent witness to every idea, every emotion, every bodily feeling, untouched by them all. If somebody judges you harshly, if they lash out at your personality or doubt your intentions, they're really clashing with their own version of you, the picture they've painted in their head of who you seem to be. But that picture isn't the real you. It's merely a fleeting notion in their thoughts, as insubstantial and harmless as a fleeting shadow across a surface. The authentic you, the one perceiving these very sentences now, the unchanging awareness that's endured every shift in your existence, needs no shield because it faces no real assault. It's akin to the endless expanse of the sky, boundless and receptive, impervious to harm. This is the essence the wise ones refer to as the self, with a capital S. Not the limited ego shaped by your past and personal tastes, but the infinite presence that mirrors the origin of everything that is. Once this truth sinks in, the impulse to guard yourself simply dissolves. We build walls around ourselves out of the fear that we're lone islands in a cruel sea, forced to fend off dangers alone. Yet this sense of division is a mirage, a playful deception of the mind that lets the cosmos engage in a grand game of concealment and revelation. In essence, there's just a single essence manifesting in countless forms. There's only one awareness manifesting through every seemingly distinct life. Striking at someone else wounds your own being. When they strike at you, they're harming their own core. That's why shielding yourself proves pointless in the end. It's as absurd as one fist shielding itself from the other, or one ripple battling another, oblivious that both spring from the identical sea. As this insight breaks through, as you truly grasp that no, quote for none exists, that all things and people are mere veils over the singular essence, then protection turns not just redundant but inconceivable. How do you guard against your own nature? How does the sea defend itself from its depths? Thus arises the profound riddle at the core of enlightened insight. True invincibility comes from holding nothing vulnerable. Genuine strength flows from yielding without fight. Real liberation emerges from relinquishing all guards, and, rest assured, this doesn't turn you into a doormat. It renders you like flowing water, the gentlest force there is, yet capable of eroding the toughest rock over time. It shapes you like the open void, yielding to all yet marred by none. Embracing this approach, navigating existence without the endless drive to shield, rationalize, or clarify your every move, others sense a shift in your presence. You carry an air of calm, of liberation, of steady serenity that pulls them in, much like blooms leaning into sunlight. You transform into a refuge for those around you, a space where they might set aside their guards, their battles, their draining quests for validation. This is the offering you extend to others by dropping your own defenses. You show that existence can unfold unarmored with an unguarded spirit, fully alive amid fellow humans, free from perpetual conflict. Deep down, isn't this the ache we all share? To be embraced, truly witnessed, cherished, not for triumphs or debates, but for the essence beyond our personas, disguises, and safeguards. By ceasing to protect yourself, you bestow this grace upon your own life. You release the demand for external affirmation. Peace with your core no longer hinges on triumphs in disputes, swaying opinions, or earning nods of consent. You uncover that you're already the very thing you've chased. You're inherently enough, inherently valuable, inherently whole, not due to deeds or successes, but owing to your profound intrinsic reality. From this foundation of wholeness, from acknowledging your essential being, you can immerse in life with total openness. You can voice your reality without craving agreement. You can follow your principles without seeking endorsement. You can simply exist as you are, without the compulsion for comprehension. This marks the pinnacle of liberty, not the liberty to act unbound, but the liberty to embody your truth unapologetically, unguarded, free from the nagging doubt of falling short of some elusive ideal. So, when criticism comes your way next, when that old reflex to argue, clarify, or vindicate stirs again, recall this. You're not defined by their view of you. You're not even bound by your self-view. You're the boundless knowing where all judgments and perspectives drift in and out, like transient clouds across an eternal expanse. Abide in that knowing. Embody that expanse. Allow the storms of earthly conflict to sweep past without ruffling your depths.